Oh, and it started recording. All right, well.
I wonder if it was the motion thing.
It might have been. We're off to a good start. All right, so this is the first time we've gone to a late movie in a long time. Yeah. We went to see 28 Years Later.
Yeah.
It's. I was saying that it's Pride Month.
It is.
So it's 28 Queers Later, and it's the sequel to the long-awaited sequel to 28 Gays Later. And this is why I should go back to plagiarizing these things.
No, stop. Oh my god.
You've seen the other two, right?
Not since I was like 13.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, or
right.
16
yeah.
and then 13.
All right.
I was still not doing my math.
Well,
right.
now technically,
it's been a minute.
The second movie's not even canon anymore.
It's not?
Well, no, because essentially the fucking dude's running at us like
I know. I was about to like fight.
like in Get Out, like with the guy just starts running right towards him. Some like fucking fast running rage zombies just ran across the parking lot at us. The second one ends with them with the helicopter crashing, and basically Paris is now overrun.
Okay.
But this basically says that only England was quarantined.
Yeah.
So, oh my god. Jesus Christ. I forgot what it's like to do these in the car. Like, we haven't done
sorry, I've been sick for literally like 3 weeks now. So I sound rough, but I sound like 20 times better than I did a couple days ago. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's why I started coughing. I figured I should mention it.
These lids. we had so many problems tonight. The lids kept coming off the drinks, and then I got up to go to the bathroom. This place is huge. All right, I went and saw Final Destination Bloodlines here the other night.
Oh, okay. How was that?
It was all right.
Okay.
You'll have to watch the review.
Yeah.
It's I've been trying to catch up on movies.
Oh my god, now that you have your card.
I know. I saw 2 movies on Monday night. I've seen like 5 movies in the last few days.
Let's go.
You know? And there's still other ones I still need to check out. I'm holding off on Mission Impossible only because I booked it second run, so I'll watch it at my theater instead of paying. But yeah, so this theater's huge, and we're in the IMAX screen. Yeah. Where like you like walk up steps to go left, to go up steps, to go right, to go up steps.
We also came in on the opposite side.
We came in on the opposite side.
I realized that when I went to get more popcorn.
But at one point in the movie, I had to pee like really, really bad. So I go out and
the emotional crux of the movie. By
yes,
the way.
Exactly.
So funny.
Yeah, when I get back, you're like, this happened. And I was like, fuck.
But anyway, sorry. Yeah.
So I get up to go to the bathroom, and I walk out the door thinking that that's the door we came in, but instead it led me through like this, like back rooms version, like what was that called? Non-liminal space.
Oh,
or whatever.
Liminal space.
Yeah, liminal space. Like that's where I am now, and I'm like, there's a bunch of doors without handles.
Oh no!
And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like this is like one of those SCP type of things, you know?
Yeah, I was sitting there, and like so shortly after you got up to pee, and someone else, like the couple of people next to us, one of them got up, and they came back, and I was like, where's Newt?
Well, I thought you would have seen me.
I
thought you would have seen me because I had to go back into the theater and walk back down again. And I thought you would have been like, what the fuck is he doing? But yeah, I walked out the back door and I was like, I may
not have realized it was you. But
yeah, I was like, I don't know where I am right now. There is no way to get back in here. So I'm using my fingers to like pry open the fucking door. So I made it to the bathroom. Photo finish. 28 years later.
Enough about our
adventure. Yeah, the lids don't fill in the cups, and so I have been looking forward to this one for a while. I just rewatched the first one and the second one for reviews. I hadn't seen the first one. I've seen a few times. I have a very conflicting relationship with that movie, obviously. I mean, the movie is super important. Had I just said what I had to say about the movie, it wouldn't be any problem.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Because it's
we got there.
This movie, actually, all 3 movies are interesting in the way that the first one came out after 9/11, but was shot pre 9/11.
Oh.
And it really like they based the movie more on like what Day of the Triffids.
Okay.
Like the way that England was kind of like wiped out and all that, and you know that kind of thing. But that movie kind of, what I thought so interesting about that movie was, at that point, you're a lot younger than me, but at that point in like 1999, 2000, 2001, there's like a fly or something.
Yeah, I know. I keep.
England became like really popular again when it came to pop culture.
Oh yeah.
Like the Spice Girls and all that shit. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on. We're having a hard time tonight.
Oh, I thought something on my
Nope.
arm was network.
Now I'm not even. This is the whole review. Like this is madness. We'll just try to pretend like we don't see it. Wait.
Okay, no,
Okay,
I don't,
yep,
I don't,
we're
need,
gonna
to, I don't need to go
we're
Campy.
good.
We're
We're
fine.
good.
I'm not looking at it.
So the first movie, England, was like super popular, like you know, popular pop culture wise, and Alex Garland and Danny Boyle were like, let's tear that down, you know, and it was cool because it was, you know, the rage infected angle of it. It was like, well, yeah, we're watching on 24-hour news cycles pre 9/11, just as the world's fucking coming apart, mass shootings and all that kind of stuff. And then the second movie happens as America is occupying Afghanistan and Iraq and all that kind of stuff. So that's in that one, the Americans are, you know, overseeing the you know, this new version of England.
Right.
And then in the third one, you can tell that this one is very much post-Brexit.
Yeah.
You know, and that was kind of the vibe that I got, which I like about all three of them like that, because it also reminds me of, like, this being a spiritual successor to Romero with Night of the Living Dead, because Night of the Living Dead was shot like a, you know, Vietnam black and white footage. It was saying something about the culture at the time, whereas 28 Days Later was shot digitally, and it almost looked like the news footage we were getting from war-torn areas and stuff. So that's a really cool way to do that. What'd you think of this? After that long preamble.
Okay. I mean, I really enjoyed it off the bat, obviously. Can I help you? No. It was super fascinating. I mentioned it as we walked out, but it's like a very, very, very serious movie.
Yeah.
For like 95% of it. I'd even say like 97. And then the last scene is
crazy.
Is campy, I guess I'd say. And it was just like a weird tonal shift, but not like in a bad way necessarily, because obviously, you know, I'm curious to see what they do with. Well, I mean, we'll get there, but that also that going behind us is
told to move.
Maybe.
What? Oh.
I'm sorry, the complex is officially closed. I gotta ask everybody to go.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Well,
All
we'll
right,
finish. We'll finish shooting this review at my apartment.
That's so funny that I was like, "Can I help you?" And actually,
20 minutes. 20 minutes later. All right. So we got kicked out of the parking lot.
yes,
I got that bug out of the car.
that's good. That's good.
So here we go. We're back
Okay.
to reviewing 28 years later. This review is going to be 28 years long. All right. So this one basically takes place 28 years after the outbreak.
Yes.
England has been basically
Quarantine.
from the rest of the world. And a group of you all right?
I'm just still shaky. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm good.
You pulled up, Mets pulled
Oh,
up,
no.
and it sounded like they were dragging something.
And that
Under
made
the
me freak out.
car.
Because something ran across the road, and I heard that I hit it, but when I went back, I couldn't find the body. And so I just, you know, I finished coming here, and then he said that, and I was like, oh my god, I've been dragging it the whole time.
No, and it was just a
It
piece of
wasn't.
the
It
front
was
of
just a
the
piece
car.
of
Yeah.
the front of my car.
And you have a brand new car, and yeah.
Sorry, it's been a night.
It was zombies.
God damn it, I didn't.
She's fine. She's fine.
Okay. Sorry, I thought I
That's
pressed
all
it
right.
all the way.
We're getting distracted by everything else other than the movie.
But
yes.
it was a good movie. This isn't like...
All right, that's it. Bye.
Morbius. No, I meant this isn't like Morbius where we want to talk about anything else. Great Britain has been quarantined.
Yes. And the movie begins with the Teletubbies.
It does.
And a little boy whose dad is a pastor.
Yeah. Oh man.
Who believes that, you know, this is God's retribution, it's the rapture.
Yeah.
And then we cut to this island of people.
Scottish Highlands.
The Scottish Highlands, where Craven the Hunter lives.
Oh wait. Technically speaking, I thought Scottish Highlands was at the beginning. Never mind.
Yeah.
Scotland.
So they live on this little island with the crossway that gets submerged with water when there's high tide. and it's the little boy Spike.
Mm-hmm.
It's his first time to go out into the mainland, and
he's
and
a little
kill.
younger than most people are when they go their 1st time. It sounds like, but
and his dad is in the movie is Aaron Taylor-Joy.
Okay.
Isn't that? Is there?
I did see that name pop up at the end, and I was like, "Oh, neat."
He was Kraven the Hunter, which is funny. But he was also he was Quicksilver.
That's why he looked familiar. I did watch Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, he was in the first of the legendary Godzilla movies with Bryan Cranston and all that. But yeah, so the mom is sick. They don't know what's wrong with her.
Yeah. I was actually thinking early onset Alzheimer's or something.
Okay, I thought maybe he was going to follow over from the second one where that certain people were asymptomatic of the rage thing. A lot of nudity in this movie.
A lot of nudity, yeah.
Including the big old tasty dong on
the alpha,
Samson.
Samson.
Holy shit, Samson was fucking packing heat.
And it makes sense because it's not like the zombies are gonna give a fuck about wearing clothes 28 years, because they've either fallen off, gotten ripped, whatever, and
they've evolved to a point.
Yeah. The zombies themselves have evolved.
Yeah.
Because you got the alphas who take a whole lot to be brought down.
All the hits remind me of the more modern Mortal Kombat games, the way that the camera work was for it and stuff like that. But yeah, so the Spike and his dad have to go to the mainland so he can get his first kill, and they wind up kind of getting in a little bit of trouble. And
yeah, he kills one of the real slow fat ones, and so that he's his dad's proud of him and all that, but then later they do run into a group led by an alpha, which I'm going to be honest, I don't remember if the alphas were in the first
They
movies
were,
or not.
no.
Okay,
yeah, this is an evolution thing, yeah.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah. Because at the end of the first
that
movie,
was our introduction to them, basically, was them running into them.
Because I love that shot of them coming over the hill and just standing there. There's a lot of really, really beautiful cinematography in this movie. The entire movie was shot with an iPhone, which is crazy. Well, a series of iPhones.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy to think how far technology has come, because when the first one came out, it's it was shot with an XL1, and this is huge. And it's consumer pro technology at that point.
I think it's also super funny because you told me that right before what was I assume was an iPhone on the drone.
Yeah,
it was just all the way up in the air, and I was like, "Yep, iPhones now."
And then, actually, if you want to see a movie that handled the consumer pro stuff right around that same time was Michael Mann's Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx. That's a cool movie because they shot so much of it shot at night. And the digital picks that up a lot better. There's a lot of scenes in the first 28 Days Later in daylight. There's a scene where Jim goes into the church, and you can't quite tell what's going on there. It's all the dead bodies in the church and stuff like that, which I think may wind up being the church in the beginning of this movie.
I think that is the implication, yeah.
I was thinking that when I was sitting there, I was is this supposed to be the same church? But yeah, so they and then they have to make a run for it back, and it was very dreamlike.
Yeah.
When they're running across the thing, the background.
Oh yeah, they were going back to the causeway. Yeah, it was like Aurora Borealis.
And I was like, is this happening?
Yeah.
Is this, I couldn't. So this.
And then it was also cool because there was visual clarity where they did the really wide shot, so you could see how close the alpha was coming up to them on the causeway. Because the tide hadn't fully receded, but it was enough that you could run. And the water that was getting kicked up from them running was really bright white, which I thought was interesting.
This movie is far more, and again, a fantasy film. It's a movie about rage-infected zombie monsters, but this one feels more like a fantasy movie, like a hero's journey kind of thing. Even when they go to Ray Fiennes' character, he would be somebody who King Arthur would have to encounter. And I thought that I honestly thought when we got to his point, he would be the villain because he sort of reminded me of Colonel Kurtz a little bit from Apocalypse Now. But
interestingly, I got the feeling that it was going to be the opposite. We are talking about the same character.
The guy covered in iodine.
Yeah. The way they kept emphasizing that he was psycho, basically, I was like, no, he's not. There's no way.
I think sort of the metaphor for the entire movie is remember the dead.
Yeah.
The memento mori.
Yeah. I liked his character quite a bit. Sorry, my brain started.
That's okay.
was already a little like
Yeah,
off
yeah.
today, and then now I'm like
That's
really
all right.
off. But
yeah, they get back and he asks about the doctor.
yeah, because he saw the smoke in the distance, but his dad didn't want to tell him what it was.
Yeah. After the dad went to go eat out some chick after a party.
Yeah.
But yeah, this I do like though the fact that like this movie doesn't really deal in toxic masculinity.
Right.
It does. He's very like doting on his son and like creating like the tail around him and stuff like that. Because these are people who they basically were. Most of these people have been born into this world. They've never known the world before. They didn't know what a frisbee was.
Yeah.
You know. Funny. But when the son thinks that he could get the mom to the doctor to figure out what the problem is, and the two of them venture back into the world. And that's kind of the crux of the movie. Yeah. I thought that the movie, like, I honestly didn't quite know what to expect from this because I only saw one of the trailers and I was excited. I was like, I don't want to know much about it going in. I didn't know that it was part of, I guess, a new trilogy.
Right. With the end.
Yeah, with the ending. You couldn't quite grasp what the concept of this movie was. You thought it was going to be Kraven the Hunter and his son, and the son's a great actor. I've never seen this kid in anything before, but he carries this whole movie.
He really does. He's great.
You have a rage-infected person give birth.
Yes.
Which was
so funny because they show her at one point, and my mind immediately went to the logistics of that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was like, well, there's no way that, like, sorry, my brain's going to a couple different places with it. So when we first see her, I'm like visibly heavily pregnant, which I was like, damn, if she had like concepts, that would totally suck. Imagine like you already can't walk super great, and now you are also super pregnant.
Didn't a lady who's potentially brain dead was like they gave?
Yes, they kept her body basically not even alive, but functioning as an incubator for like 4 months.
Just fucked up.
And they just extracted the baby.
Yeah, they said gave birth. It was like she didn't give birth.
She was decomposing too much and could no longer support the fetus. So they brought the baby into the world.
Jesus
super
Christ.
premature.
Yeah.
Really fucked up. But anyway, I actually didn't even make that connection.
Really? That was the first thing I thought of in that scene.
I totally should have. But yeah, it was just really interesting because, again, the logistics of it, right? I was like, all right, immediate thought is that, because I assumed that she had been turned for a while.
But they're not zombies. They're not, like, dead things. They're just infected by, like, rabies, essentially.
Right. True. But, like, that's still not going to sustain life, in my opinion. So I was like, all right, when did she get pregnant?
And it's now, are they, like, fornicating post?
So my assumption when she gave birth, and especially when they were like, oh, it's not infected, I was like, okay, first of all, I don't believe, like, obviously, the baby was not infected, I was like, that's like a little too far suspension of disbelief for me personally. Because, you can pass on things like HIV and whatnot to your baby. Like, it's not... I just don't believe that. But, like, they have the doctor be like, the wonders of the placenta. I'm like, I really don't...
But that might be part of the next story. We don't know.
Sure.
That,
Yeah, I mean, that's true. They could do, like, a Blade thing.
Yeah, like a hybrid kind of thing.
Yeah, but, anyway, so I was like, well, there's no way that, like... Because initially I was like, oh, she must have, like, just gotten turned recently. Yeah. And then gave birth. But then they also did something where they had the alpha seem to, like, he picked up her body afterwards and was, like, clearly upset that she had been killed. Yeah. And, like, I don't know if it was...
his kid?
Right, like, I think that's what it was trying to imply.
Now? Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that's what they were going for
sort of,
or not.
So this movie kind of had, like, a, Land of the Dead, the last big Romero zombie movie, where people basically were living in, like, this city that was walled off, and the dead basically were starting to kind of have memories of what they used to be, so they were able to kind of, like, unionize a little bit,
That's so
or like Bub in Day of the Dead, who, like, he had some memory or something, he uses the gun and say hello to your Aunt Alicia.
But yeah, I got stuck on that very much so, because I was like, I feel like they just tried to imply that, like, especially because they had Eric be like, we can't let them breed, and I'm like, are they capable of that? Is that the implication here?
I mean, they still have beating hearts. It's not like a
True.
vampires, like, they're dead, but they can get boners because they're all sexy apparently. So
I hate that I like third-hand know why in Twilight. Apparently it's the venom replaces the blood, supposedly.
Yeah, you.
I heard this. Yeah, I was like, I heard this from like a Tumblr.
I think we talked about this in a live
stream. So if I'm wrong, by all means, I'm not the expert on this. But
so she gives birth to the baby, and then while I was in the bathroom.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, so Eric gets killed, and which
all that stuff was awesome.
That was
all
great.
the ripping of the heads open.
Yeah, they kept several times they ripped the
spinal cord
out. Spinal cord out, like by the head, basically. Like
again, very Mortal Kombat.
Very cool. I was very much a fan of that. Which then he like ran around just carrying it for a bit. But dude, the amount of times that they used that as a weapon, like multiple of the dead, like after ripping it, they're like smacking someone else with it. I'm like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. But anyway, all right, so they find the doctor. Eric has had his head ripped out of his body, and like we find out that. Because they were talking about like the doctor being crazy earlier, and it was like, oh well, he was actually like keeping all the dead, because they saw that he had like all these bodies laid out, which my first thought was actually like you know those decomposition farms?
Yeah, body farms.
Body farms. That's what I was assuming it was, and then we actually find out that it's just like he's
building totems.
Yeah, he's building like these really big like what am I'm blanking on the word.
The memento mori.
Yeah, but there's like a word I was looking for. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But yeah, out of their bones, which is super fucking cool.
Yeah, it was really good. It was like an ossuary.
Yeah. So he gets the skin and meat off of Eric, and like has Spike put him in the memento mori.
Yeah.
And then pretty much right after that, and I was trying to remember when you left, and I knew that it was after that because he made a Shakespeare joke, and you laughed. So I was like, okay, I remember he said it last for Eric, and I was like, that's funny. So, right after that, I guess, shortly after that, you got up. So
I got lost in the liminal back spaces.
Yeah. So while he's trying to find his way back from the back rooms, the doctor's like, so, alright, you brought this baby here, and it's gonna die if you don't get it milk soon. Like, water will keep it alive for a little bit, but it needs milk. And, is that why you came to me? And, Spike's like, no. Yeah, right. Spike's no, he does not. But yeah, Spike was like, no, my mom's sick, and I don't know what's wrong with her.
Yeah.
So he gives her like, it's obviously a very bare bones examination, no pun intended. But he's like, okay, I don't know for sure because I don't have like diagnostic medicine, but based on like, he found lumps in her breasts and lymph nodes. And he was like, yeah, you've got cancer, and it's, like, pretty far along, basically. And it seems like she says she suspected this, and she didn't want to tell Spike directly. She was hoping that someone else would, which kind of seems like it was everybody's thought process, I guess. Like, oh, someone else will tell him. Because no one told him.
Earlier he's like, do you want mom to die? And he's like, no, of course not. Like, everybody's just passing the buck.
Right? Because, that was interesting to me that he found out that his dad was cheating on his mom, like, at the same time that he found out there's a doctor.
Yeah.
So that definitely, like, makes sense for launching the movie into
it's that hero's journey. And this, unlike the second movie where this had to happen so that this could happen so that the story could happen, this feels more in tune with the first one where he's a bit more organic, you know?
Yeah, definitely. But, alright, so, she's not gonna make it. You know, Spike's like, well, how long does she have? Basically, he initially tries to go get like medicine, but the doctor's like, hey, that doesn't. There's no medicine to fix this. So he's like, well, how long does she have? And it's like, I don't know for sure, but like not long, basically. So Spike starts freaking out because he's 12 and just got told that his mother's going to die soon, and they end up sedating him with like the same stuff that they sedated the zombie with.
Which they actually say zombie in this movie. I was shocked by that. He actually called it a zombie. Eric called it a zombie. I was like, oh, okay, they didn't call it that in the other ones,
we keep referencing Eric. Eric saved... You good? Oh,
yeah. I was just
you're... Eric saved them at one point. He's a Swedish naval officer.
He's a Viking, apparently.
Oh, yeah. That was so funny, because I know so many people who have, like, some vague connection to... Who are like, yeah, you know what, I'm Viking. And I'm like, sure, bud.
So somebody was pissed off about the live-action How to Train Your Dragon that there's a black
yeah.
person and an Asian person in it.
God.
And I was like, hold on a second. The Vikings were everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
at some point, they would have, like, an Asian person would have been like, yo, I'm gonna come with these guys.
Right. No, it's
you know?
it's because that's, like, more blatantly racist, I think, than a lot of people complaining about black people in historical settings. Which obviously, it's generally all at least a little bit racism. But specifically, when people are, like, mad that black people, like, were associated with Vikings in any way, it's like, it's because they're clinging to the idea that they were like this superior race. At the point. It's so
they're
funny.
all just that guy who's walking down the street raving.
That's a deep cut. Nice. Anyway, no. So back to the really depressing.
Yeah, the really depressing scene that I missed while I was fumbling in the dark for the bathroom.
Oh my God!
At Five Nights at Freddy's.
You know, obviously, there's this agreement, I guess unspoken agreement that like. You know, he's gonna kill her. The doctor's going to kill the mom. Because they start explaining to Spike, like, it's better to go peacefully, basically. He was like, you know, remember what I said earlier, like, remember we're all going to die, basically. But he said, also remember, like, love. Because obviously she loves him very much. And he loves her to bring her all the way out here.
He lies to her in the beginning. She's like, where you going? He's like, school.
Oh, yeah, that's cute. But yeah, so they have this moment talking about like death and love and all that, and which did not fuck me up at all. I did not cry. That would be ridiculous. But so you know, they hand him the baby, and like she sort of walks off a ways, and then the doctor kills her, and you came in right after he finished. He finished cleaning off her skull, and had that's why it was so funny to me. You literally missed like the entire when you left, she was alive, and when you came back, she was a skull.
It's a perfect metaphor. Really, it's a perfect metaphor for life,
right? And so he gives the skull to Spike to put on the memento mori, and climbs all the way to the top, puts her right at the top, like tilts her to see the sunrise.
I
definitely didn't cry again.
Yeah, that shot was beautiful. Like, you know, because even when he puts his head or his forehead to the skull, I was like, wow, it's really like strikingly beautiful for this type of movie.
It was very much like. In the breath between when the scene like was ending and the beginning of the next scene, I was very much like, "Is this how this is ending? Is this how this movie's ending?" I don't know if I can do that. But no, we immediately cut to them. I guess the encampment or the wherever the fuck this doctor's staying got like attacked. Samson woke up.
So they had to hide under the thing, and Samson's like punching through the floor and shit. I would have been if his big dong went through and strangled him, like in Welcome Home, Brother Charles.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so he decides, Spike decides that he's gonna.
Yeah, because the doctor's like, all right, you should get out of here, basically.
So he took the baby home in a CVS shopping.
That was so funny that they just had the little it was like a little shopping basket. And yeah, he walks across the causeway. He drops the baby off at the gate with like a note for his dad in there. Yeah. And he fucks off into the wilderness, which so valid, honestly. Yeah. If I was 12 and had the ability to fuck off into the wilderness, I would.
He'd never seen it before. They'd never left the island. Never left the island. And he even says when he's with his dad, he's like, "Have you ever been to a place where you can't see the sea?"
Yeah, he said that in the note. He's like, "I want to walk until I can't see the coast."
Basically. And then he gets himself in a little bit of trouble, and then a bunch of fucking jogging suit parkour Christians show up.
Yeah,
they all look like fucking Jerry Savile, that pedophile guy.
Sorry. And they save him, and like I was saying, I assume you're gonna stitch the videos together. In like the campiest way. It was like that was like the ultimate Mortal Kombat scene because you had like pretty solid metal playing, if I may say so myself. And,
good score, very good score.
Yeah. Oh, in general.
And I like that they didn't overuse the theme from the first movie, because in House on a Heartbeat is a great track from the first movie, and they overuse it in 28 Weeks Later to way too much.
I gotcha. But yeah, so they're just like doing parkour and like I was most fascinated by like they were simultaneously. One of them was like stabbing one, and the other was like. Cutting its head off to like cut its head. Oh, it was so sick. I just like that scene was honestly like
And it's
so
just,
much
it
fun.
comes out of nowhere, and I like that.
Yeah.
It's why I like that the movie is so somber and is so grounded. Yes, it's a movie about rage-infected zombies.
But it is very, like, it takes itself very seriously, and then at the end it's like, guess what?
Because it's gonna be like
tracksuit parkour.
Exactly, when it kind of reminded me a little bit of like the Wizard of Oz almost. You're black and white, and then you're color.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's you're gonna go into this whole other world where there's other civilizations that have existed out there in the last 28 years, and I think that's really cool. I really enjoyed this movie.
I also, I would like to, because, okay, since I last watched the first two movies when I was like 16 or whatever, I have, so, okay, you referred to somebody from one of the early movies as Jimmy.
Jim, yeah. That's Cillian Murphy's character.
Okay, so the guy we see at the end is that. Yeah. Okay, because I was initially, when I saw that, when he first showed up and I saw he had the thing, I was like, oh, that's funny. They implied that the kid that you see at the beginning grew up to be... Yeah. But it was actually the tracksuit wearing parkour guy. That's the guy, that's the kid. Yeah, okay.
Jim...
I wanted to say that, and then he referenced a character being named Jim, and I was like, am I about to sound really stupid?
No, so Jim in the first one was a bike messenger. He got hit by a car, woke up in a coma, and after he woke up, the whole world was over.
That's ringing some bells.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was funny. I was like, that's the kid we saw at the beginning. Because you're, I assume, supposed to think that it's the father. Yeah. And then it's just not. That's just, we've just been following someone else entirely.
And it kind of, now I feel like we're going to have almost this, like, Mad Max, Doomsday kind of, like, this is obviously a religious cult.
Right.
Of, like, tracksuit wearing parkour British mods.
Yeah. I'm curious what flavor of religious cult they are, because couple of notes, right? So obviously the thing I recognized him by, his dad gave him that, right? But he had refastened it upside down. Which that is actually more associated with a saint, if I remember correctly. Than technically, So we could go that direction. And then I was also
sees himself. He was spared, so he probably sees himself as a deity.
I could see that. Yeah, he had the tiara. Because that was the other thing, is so he was hiding, like, in the floor. And maybe it wasn't him who said it, but I could have sworn that during that scene he said, like, Father, why have you forsaken me? Or I heard somebody say that in the movie. I thought that was the kid.
In the beginning, yes.
Yeah, it's very good. So now I'm like, was that Father referring to his own father, or was that God? Yeah. So I'm like, I'm curious which way they're gonna go with that, with the religious aspect.
Because they all look like him. They all have the same hair. So I find that interesting. It's like because again, every zombie movie follows the same thing. The zombie isn't the threat.
No.
People are the threat. You know.
And they even kind of have that. Although I was gonna say they have that reference with the guy tied upside down, but then I don't know if...
That was fucked up, like the bag was like full of like fluid and
yeah,
stuff.
well, because traditionally, I'm saying, anyway, when someone's strung up like that, and like, you know, tied and like have a bag of it's to catch, like I can't word this without sounding like I'm insane, but the idea is to cut, you know, the neck so that the blood drains through the head. It wasn't enough to be that.
But it was also because when they're infected,
I assume blood. It was from vomiting blood when he turned, I assume. Because obviously he was also tied up and left there, like, by another human who hadn't been infected. Because he has, like, the letters carved in.
Which means that there's another group out there, too. Like, I'm very interested to see...
I don't think that was our parkour guys.
No, I don't think so either. I'm really interested to see, like, what other facets exist in the last 28 years out there, because there is still, like, you know, the animals weren't affected,
right?
You know, the first movie it's monkeys, they're the rage infected monkeys that started all off. But yeah, there's like the deer were alive and the rats and stuff like that. There's a couple good jump scares.
And whatever the hell, whatever the hell jumped out at them when they first got into the building.
I thought it was a cat.
I thought it was a cat, but it looked too long. I don't know. It doesn't. They just show you the end of it, basically.
I don't know. That's a pretty long, dumb cat laying there.
You know, it looked like.
Yeah. Well.
I don't know. I would have associated it with some sort of, like.
Possum or.
No, what's the word? Mustelid. That's where.
Oh, a mustelid. Okay. Yeah. Gotta.
It could have been possum.
Yeah,
but the tail and
I don't know if they have those in England.
They don't have mustelids in England.
I don't know.
I guess I'll look that
So
up.
anyway, we do have people who watch us from England.
Do you guys have mustelids?
Yeah.
Do you like ferrets?
What's a mustelid? Yeah, no, I definitely. It's weird that they made part 2 non-canon.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because right. Looping all the way back, you mentioned you were talking about how Paris had been like obliterated, but they referenced the French as being like the primary border patrol, for lack of a better word. That was them circling the island. Yeah. And we run into some Parisians later before we run into Eric.
Yeah.
Or I guess I'm assuming they're from Paris. They could be from anywhere in France, but yeah. That's another one of the people who get their head and spine ripped down, and then smack into another.
That whole scene, because I was like, who are these people? Like, we have like the SWAT guys going in there. This is a really cool scene. How does this fit in? And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the gore in the movie was fantastic.
It really was.
It was very well done. I like that the zombies at this point they're cannon fodder at this point, but there is like, while they're not zombies like the traditional side, they have been so stripped of their humanity at this point that they are like just sores and
I mean, like I sort of alluded to earlier, they don't care if they're wearing clothes or not.
Yep. So I thought that was really cool. I like the more fantasy element of this, like the more King Arthur hero's journey kind of element of it. This was really good, and I didn't know what to expect. And just going back and rewatching the other two recently, I was like, how are we gonna do this? And while it doesn't feel the need to feel like the first one. You know, because I like those weird shots where it's like that infrared, and you see like.
Oh my god, I love those.
And it's like you just see their eyes glowing, and like it fucking breaks the deer's neck and stuff like that. There's a lot of really cool imagery, but also like a lot of like really beautiful scenery in the movie as well.
Which makes sense because the Scotland's beautiful.
Yeah,
from what I.
And it would be like without people, the Earth just takes it back.
Exactly.
You know. Yeah, I don't know.
I like that we got to see the angel. She called it.
Yeah, that was cool too.
Yeah.
Yep. that's your dad.
Oh, right. That's why I thought it was Alzheimer's, by the way, because which it makes sense that it did end up being like the cancer went to her brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's definitely something neurological and like going on there, right? Yeah. Because she kept forgetting things, but we kind of glossed over her symptoms. She had really bad headaches, and she kept forgetting things. She sort of seemed to be like floating between being a child and an adult. And like where sometimes she was really lucid and like she knew who Spike was, she knew what was going on around her.
She was able to protect him in the thing.
Right. And then other times she like kept calling him dad, which threw Eric off, which was hilarious. But specifically her calling him dad is what made me think it was Alzheimer's, because from what I understand, as people with Alzheimer's start to go, they'll remember like feelings more than people. Yeah. So like that's why sometimes like people will go and visit their parents who have it, and they get called by like the parent's sister's name or whatever. It's like all they remember is, oh, I love this person, not who it is.
Like Uncle Junior on The Sopranos when he got Alzheimer's disease.
I've actually never seen The Sopranos.
Oh, really?
Isn't that crazy? But yeah, it makes sense that it's still brain stuff. So
no, and I like that. And then again, for like the two biggest name actors in the movie are Ray Fiennes and Aaron Taylor-Joy. Or wait, who's the one girl with the giant eyes?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy is that? Okay, they're different people. Yes,
and I don't feel like they look alike.
No, but their names are.
No, I know. Yeah. I just meant in general.
They kind of both vanish from the movie. Like Ray Fiennes comes in super late, and then he's gone, and then the dad vanishes, and you're with the kid. Yeah. And I think in most cases, if you would have told me 10 years ago it was going to focus on a kid, I'd been like, oh, please don't do that. But no, he was really emotionally mature and fleshed out.
You see him mature over the course of like the movie, because at the beginning he's too afraid and like misses and all that.
He wants to bring his toy with him on the hunt and stuff like that. I do also, I have to give extra points to when they're all drunk and they're singing my favorite Tom Jones song, Delilah. I fucking love that song. I was singing along with them in the theater.
That's awesome.
I don't know when the next one's coming out.
I don't know.
I think
I didn't think it was gonna have a sequel. Yeah. And then we got the parkour.
You end with the parkour gang. Yeah, it almost felt like that felt like something would have been in like the Kingsman.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. That's why I kind of referred to it as campy, because I was like, it felt like I was suddenly like watching a metal music video.
Yeah.
Like, because, you know, for the beginning of the song was, like, silly sounding.
Yes,
if I remember
yeah,
correctly.
yep.
And then it, like, cuts into metal, and I was like, oh, fuck, I love this.
It had a very, because he does that kind of thing, like, in, Train Spotting, too, has that kind of vibe to it a little bit.
And, like, I know at one point there's a shot where the zombies, like, folded backwards in half over, like, a fucking spear, and I was like, this feels like a music video. Like, this is hilarious. I love it.
But yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed this one. I gotta see it again because I need to see the most important scenes.
That was literally so funny. I'm sorry. Like, as I'm, like, not crying, and then you just, I see you coming back up the side, I'm like, are you kidding me?
You're like,
That's so
you're
funny.
like, his mom died. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, how do I summarize? So I just said, she had cancer, and now she's dead. Like, something like that. I was just like,
I got a huge soda, and I drank the soda before the movie was over. I was like, oh man, this is good. And then I'm like, as I'm feeling around in the back rooms, I'm like, if I don't find the bathroom, like, am I just gonna go into an empty theater and just pee in the carpet? Like, am I gonna be like a fucking monster?
Are you gonna be that? Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I dug this. I gotta see it again. I liked it a lot more than the second one. I just liked how different it was.
Yeah.
Just creatively, the fact they didn't need to feel the need to do the first one over again, which is what I worry it would be, because the second one does stick so closely to the first one.
That makes sense. Is that like a known criticism about it, for lack of a better word?
I stopped reading 28 Days Later reviews.
No, I meant... No, that's fair. I meant, like, when it first came out, was that something that a lot of people said? Because it sounds like they may have taken that.
I think that was a mandate, because it was a bigger movie. It cost more money. But they would try to do these, like, shots that were like the handheld digital thing. Because this one has some strange editing in it.
Yes.
Which I thought was going to take me out of it. But yeah, eventually I was like, oh, I like this. You know, because I watched another reviewer's review of this, just so I know what not to say. And they were complaining about the editing, and I was just like, really? I thought it was really cool, and because again, this is the first 28 Days Later is such a movie that everyone knows, and it has a style that you got to do something different. And I thought that Danny Boyle did something different and unique with it, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. So yeah, so that's 28 Days Later,
28 years later,
28 years later, or 28 gays later.
Yeah.
28 queers later.
Yep.
For Pride Month.
Yes.
And
don't know that because you're gonna stitch the.
Yeah, I'm gonna put them all together, you know. But I don't even remember what we said the first time.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like one of those things. Like I just remember us getting kicked out of the parking lot, you know.
Yeah, we had just actually started to talk about the movie. Like we had gone from like all over the place.
Imagine
to,
someone who
then...
doesn't watch the channel stumbling upon this and being like, oh, what do these people have to say? They're like, what the fuck? How do they have that many subscribers? This is fucking nonsense. This is chaos.
Yes, this is probably one of our most chaotic.
We are raging. We're trying to kill bugs. But all right, yeah. So that's 28 days later. 28 years later. I'm catching up on movies. So I got a couple more to do, and I'll be all caught up. And
yeah, we're gonna see something on Monday, right?
Yes, we're gonna go see, and we're gonna do a review of that one. Is Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which is directed by Russ Meyer, and it is. I'll have to explain this one to you, or just let you go into it cold and be like, "What the fuck is this supposed to be? Is this a soap opera? Is this a car commercial? What is this?"
Oh, we gotta see it.
Yeah. Austin Powers borrowed a lot of lines from that movie.
Oh, okay.
It's my happening, and it freaks me out. And I'll also have to get your take on the trans representation in the movie.
All right.
But not going to tell you what it is. But it was interesting when it was done, and even, and John Waters is like, he was shocked that the studio let
him do that
at that point in the 60s. All right, so that's it. That's 28 years later. It's a wild fucking review. But I really enjoyed it. I think I need more time to think about it. I liked how different it was, and I'm excited to see where the series goes.
Yes, I agree.
All right, that's it. Bye.
Bye.